Hey traders, so what are the big problems with trading? You're getting into trades late, you're not getting into powerful moves, you're getting out of trades early, and you're not able to switch directions when you need to. Ultimately, you're taking trades where your losses are greater than your rewards consistently. That requires you to have a drawdown on your account, and you're not consistently profitable like you want. That's the main problem with most traders. So my name is Rich. I run Pros Don't Panic, and I have developed what I call the trend surfing process. So let's just go through it and see if it resonates with you. It is very easy, and this is part of the problem. Everybody expects trading to be extremely difficult. So let's just go through it. And if you bear with me, stick with me, I think you'll find something very interesting. So we're on AVAV. It's a drone company. It's a small drone company that is just one of the stocks on the NASDAQ. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at the 20 period moving average and the 200 period moving average without the market. And I'm going to draw on for you what I call the coastline. So this is a surfing analogy. I'm a surfer that has lived in California my whole life, and I've grown up surfing. And when I started looking at the markets, I said, these markets are surfing a wave. This is a powerful wave. The market is surfing the wave. I said, gosh, this is what I'm going to call this trend surfing, and I'm going to develop a whole program around it. And this is what I've done. So let's just go through it. Okay. So I teach this in my course, but this is what I call the coastline. So this is the deep water. That's the deep water right there. That's the 200 period moving average. You only need two indicators on your chart. You don't need volume and RSI and MACD and all this stuff. You don't need to complicate this. You do need the 200 period moving average, and you need the 20 period moving average. That is going to be your wave. We are going to surf that wave from the deep water to the beach. So what is this? This is going to be the beach, right? I told you this is going to be simple, and you might think, oh, that's for kids. All right, go get your kids. They're going to understand this. So this is the wave. You're surfing from the deep water to the beach. And then what happens when you get to the beach? The riptide takes the water, or the market, back to the deep water, right? So now let's bring in, who's the surfer? The surfer is the market. So the surfer is the market. Now let's bring in the market and let's see what happens. So the surfer is the market, surfing this wave of power up until the beach takes us sideways and we get out. We don't surf onto the beach. We're not little kids. We don't surf our little toes on the beach. We get out of the wave when the wave is coming up into the beach. We're going to jump off our surfboard, and we're going to get off at the beach. Now, this is a surfing analogy. It's a simple analogy of how you can, once you learn this, I'm telling you, you are going to trade differently. Okay. Where do we get in the wave? So what is the process? What is the process? Let's just write the process out right here. I'm going to make this real easy. Step number one, it's a 4-step process. Surf, got to type right, surf where the waves are. Or trade where the waves are. You get the idea. Step 2, catch a powerful wave. Let's just start with those two right there. Where is our trend starting? Where does our trend wave start? These waves just don't pop off everywhere. They start from certain places. In this case, where the 20 period moving average and the 200 period moving average kind of come together and they go parallel, you can see this wave kicking off. That's where we want to sit in the lineup. What is the lineup? The lineup is this area where the surfers sit. This is where the surfers sit. They've done this for years. They know if they sit in this location, this wave energy will peak right where they're sitting, and they will be able to catch a powerful wave. So that's the analogy. That's what we're doing right here. We are going to sit in this area where these two moving averages come together. We are going to sit there, and we are going to look for a powerful wave. So this powerful wave happened to bounce off the deep water. It bounced off the 200 with a huge move. And then it came up and it bounced again off the 20 with a huge move. So we're in the right location for this trend to kick off. Where do we not sit? Where do we not take trades? Well, let me hide all of this, and I will show you where you don't take trades. Do you see where the market has gone wide here, what we call wide, where the 20-period moving average and the 200-period moving average are separate? This is where we do not take trades. And where the market has gone and left the 20-period moving average here, it's left the 20-period moving average here. So we're not taking trades. We're not getting into the market here. We're not getting into the market here going bull. This is right where most traders are getting confident enough to take a trade. That's exactly where we don't take trades. So this is part of the learning process of moving from what you're currently doing to what you should be doing. As the market moves away from the 20, we want it to pull back to the 20. As the market moves away from the 20, we want it to pull back to the 20. So as this market separates, or these two moving average separates, we do not take trades anymore. We only take trades when they're near the 200 or near the 20. That's where we're taking trades. So this is part of your learning process of becoming a better trader. Where are you at in your learning process? You are currently in the education phase. You're kind of looking on YouTube, trying to get some information, or maybe you join the community and you get the course. That's education. What's the second part of the phase? Training. Even Michael Jordan had a coach. In fact, he had two coaches. He had a personal trainer. I believe his name was Tim Glover. And he also had Phil Jackson as his coach. So training is part of, you can learn the whole science of basketball, or you can learn the whole science of trading, but you still need to train. You have to have someone training you, running you through drills, learning this 3-4 hours a day. After you get done with your training and you could teach this course to somebody else, then you're going to get into experience, and you're going to get in there and you're going to trade and trade and trade, and you're going to have the results that you want. So your results are going to be the outcome of these three up here. The problem is traders want to leapfrog from education to results. They take a couple of YouTube videos or maybe some comments from some YouTube subscribers somewhere, and they go, oh, okay, let me just apply that. And they go straight to results, and the results are spotty or choppy. You need really good education. Go through the training, get some coaching, start doing drills, get your experience, start your win rate, your 3-to-1 win to loss rate and better. And then you're going to get your results, what I call the income engine. All right. So let's go back to our focus here. So we surf where the waves are in this case, and there's a number of places we can surf, but this place where the 20-period and 200-period moving average come together, that's where we're going to surf, and we're going to catch a powerful trend. All right. This powerful trend comes in different sizes. Generally, we want a large power move that's going to clear this resistance. Sometimes we can pick it up at the very beginning. In this case, it popped off the 200, but oftentimes we're going to pick it where it pops off the 20. In this case, it cleared all this resistance. We got in, and we were able to surf this trend. So what's the third step? We got to learn how to surf this trend. So we're going to surf the trend. Well, one way we can surf this trend, we can bring in our 8-period moving average, and we can trail it. We can trail our 8-period moving average till it kicks us out. We can get back in at the 20. Where this color change, where this green takes out red, we can get back in. And then in this case where it goes vertical, which is our second big wave, we're going to go bar by bar. Now, I mentioned it as being a wave. Let's just look at this real quick. This guy catches this wave in the right location. He surfs down the face of the wave. That's this right here. That's this first face of the wave. You're going to surf down this wave. Then it's going to pull back. What does that look like in our surfing analogy? This guy's going to pull back where there's no more power here on the flat. So the wave's going to, or the guy's going to pull back on the wave. He's going to get back into the power, and he's going to go down another face. What does that look like? So he's going to go down the face of the wave. He's going to pull back and go for another run, and you're out at the beach. So that's the analogy. And this is him kicking out. So he's kicking out, and he's at the beach. So where's the beach? The beach is where the market loses its steam on the trend. It goes and it's overlapping. And I've got one more surprise for you. Let's get rid of this 8-period moving average. Again, all these little nitpicky details I'm going to teach you in this course. I've got a course called Trend Surfing, and it's covered. If you go to this QR code, you get full access to this course and the full community. I have coaching classes, in weekly coaching, live coaching, question and answers. You can ask me questions and I'll answer your questions in live coaching. And you will learn this cold. All right. So what's the fourth step? The fourth step is you want to kick out of the trade, kick out of the wave or the trade. So some of you aren't even getting out of trades. You would ride this all the way down and lose all your profits because you just don't know where to exit. You don't know where to get in. You're getting in late. You finally get the courage to get in. Boom, it goes against you. This is happening to you over and over again, right? So we learn to get in early. We sit where the waves are. We get in early. We ride this trend. We learn how to ride these. So as this goes vertical, we're going to go bar by bar. We're not going to surf the 8-period moving average like I just showed you. We're going to go bar by bar. Why? Because it's going vertical. So we're going to catch this vertical, 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 trend bar, trend bar, trend bar, out at the beach. Now, I said I got a surprise for you. What's the surprise? All right. It's what I call the riptide. This is the riptide. This is a phenomenon that happens naturally at coastlines. The waves come in, the water pools up, and it digs a channel going back to the deep water. And if you try to swim against this, this is so strong it will drown you. So this is coming in from both sides. It's all this water's pulling up, it's pushing out. All right. So what's happening here in our analogy? The water's coming, it's hitting the beach, it's pulling up, and obviously buyers and sellers are switching directions. But this is the analogy. The water's coming up, it's pulling up, it's breaking back through the 20. Actually, let me show you right here. It's breaking back through the 20. And here's what we want in our riptide trade. We want the market to come back up, test the 20, and then we can jump in on an entry. Well, in this case, the market came back up. It tested the 20, broke back through, and in a really advanced trader could see that this right here is a color change and could get in. But in our course, we teach that we want to test the 20. And we tested the 20. We were able to ride this trend. We got in on this nice power move, broke through, or it changed color. We had a little green up, color change, broke through, and you're in. You ride this riptide back to the deep water, back to the 200. So we've got two trades here. We've got a nice entry where the waves are. We're going to sit in the lineup, and we're going to catch that wave, go down the face, pull back, go down the other face, catch the riptide back. So this is AVAV on the weekly chart, and this is current state. So here's another little tip, and then I'll close this video. Where are we currently? If you said I'm going to go trade AVAV, or I'm going to invest in AVAV, well, where are we right now? Are we in a tradable entry? In other words, is there any kind of entry right now at all in AVAV? No, there is no indicator whatsoever that you should be buying or selling AVAV. So part of the trend surfing and coastline analogy allows us to wait for these powerful waves to kick off to give us the confidence to say, I'm going to jump in. I am actually in a wave that I can actually jump up on and surf. These surfers don't just jump up on their board for any reason. They jump up on their board because the wave is coming through. So this is what I want you to start understanding. You're doing something for a reason. You're in the right location and you're surfing for a reason. You're not surfing because you're guessing. The surfers don't just guess. Oh, I think I'm just going to jump up on my board right now. No, you're going to jump up on your board when there is a power move that comes out of this, what's becoming a narrow state. So in a few more weeks, as this comes into a narrow state, this will break out again out of this narrow state, and you will have either an entry to the upside or an entry to the downside, and you will no longer be getting in on the wrong decision, and you'll get in early. So we'll be tracking AVAV, but you can see right now there is no entry. We are out of our trade. In fact, I would call this, it's not the beach, but we're back to the deep water. You can see this is now overlapping, and we're waiting for this to set up. It may switch sides, and this entire coastline analogy will be upside down, and we'll look for the coastline to develop us a wave to the other side possibly. Or this whole thing can turn around, and we do another run where these two moving averages separate. So that's called the Coastline Analogy. This is trend surfing. We've got a 4-step process. We surf where the waves are. We catch a powerful wave out of there. We surf the trend through some specific stop management details. You'll learn that in the course. And then you kick out of the wave at the beach. And when you can, you surf the rip tide back to the deep water so you can surf these coming and going. It seems simple, it seems easy, and it seems like, well, that's sort of kind of childish, like a little kid could do that. And that's true. Your kids can learn this. You can get your kids trading. So join the community at this QR code right here. I look forward to seeing you in the community. Learn how to do this and become a pro at one thing. Become a pro at one thing, and you will dominate that. So learn how to dominate these trends, surf them, have fun, rip tide them back to the deep water. If they change direction, you switch and you go to the other direction. And once you can absolutely dominate this, you will find that your profits are going to soar, and you will stop getting in late. You will stop getting, if you're not getting out at the beach, now you know what the beach is. You'll start getting out of trades properly. You won't ride them back and lose all your profits. So you'll eliminate all those 4 core problems I stated at the beginning of this video. All right, so I'll look forward to catching you in the community, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care, everybody.